On today's episode of Locked On Avalanche, all right, Kyle, let's find the 1.21 gigawatts, get into the DeLorean, go back to the future, bring back the sports almanac, and put some money down on Marty. Mr. Nichushkin is fun. Let's talk about it. New episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom. Kyle Sullivan, thank you for tuning in, making this your first listen of the day. That's always appreciated. If you want to get in on the conversation, join our subtext. Link to that is in the show notes below. You chat with Kyle and I one-on-one. We get your opinion, everything Avalanche related, which we share on this very podcast. Yes, sir. This is what it's been. I mean, like yesterday's episode. If you listen to yesterday's episode, it's not like it was like doom and gloom, but it's like, okay, this is the bad Avalanche. And in this game, you got both of it.
Yeah,
you got a first period that it was just maybe one of the worst periods that they've had in the season, and then they turned it around a complete 180 in the second. And a fine third, and the Avs win this thing 4-2. Flames get a late goal, which didn't play into the final factors here, but it was a bad start and a really good ending for the Avs.
Yeah, and my goodness, and like you mentioned yesterday's episode, it was kind of like a reality check, like really getting the true temperature of this team, because you didn't know what to expect. And you watch that first period and you're like, ooh, it must be that bad. And then the second period, you're like, what are they even talking about? Are they really that bad? And the third, it kind of leveled out. But that's the kind of output. And that's, again, we have said this 100,000 times. That's the most frustrating thing about the Colorado Avalanche. We could put this Calgary Flames game as like frozen, pin it to the top of your social feeds. This is the story of the 2024-2025 Colorado Avalanche in 3 periods, a 3-part play, if you will. They could either be abysmal, sloppy, penalties galore, or they could have a really good power play, really good just efficiency in the second period, how they handle the puck, how they drive it, and the third is that's what coasting looks like. That was a good third period, and it's a great win, especially when you're getting on the plane going to Edmonton right now. It's what can they do against Edmonton? You hope a lot more of that second period.
And it's a good win because that's who's right behind you in the playoff race too, right? And they have games in hand on you. So you created some distance in there, and you won it in regulation too, which is huge, obviously. The start of this game, the very first possession for the Avalanche, they had a really good opportunity. It was maybe like 14 seconds in, they had a really good opportunity, and that's what you like to see. And I know that's you have a long way to go, but when it starts like that, like okay, that just gets guys going. It did not, and then you had the 5-on-3 for the Flames, which they score on, and then it was rough going that whole first period. I mean, it was just turnover after turnover in your own zone, in all 3 zones actually, but especially in the defensive zone. Oliver Shillington was his first game back. He missed like 33 games. Boy, did it show in the first, but he got better as the game went on. He did, but in that first, he looked brutally bad. Some really, really bad turnovers there. And then you had, even though you were down 1-0, you held it to that score, and you finally got a goal from Sam Malinsky. And it was that, okay, we played a terrible period, but somehow, some way we tied it. But we did not, because Jonathan Drouin is just skating backwards and just skates right into the zone, way offsides. How they didn't blow that one dead when it happened, I don't know. But it just gave the Avs fans like a false sense of, wow, we snuck one in there before the period ended, and it didn't happen. You went into that first intermission like I hope this can be a game that we've seen a lot from them this year, where they have a bad first period and come out and have a really good second period. But we haven't seen that in a while. And we finally did today. We'll get into the second, but it was just right there was a tale of two periods. And the first, I was like, man, this is not going to be a fun episode to record if we get two more periods of that.
Yeah, especially because like the penalties were already mounting up and you're putting yourself in just precarious positions and nothing was working. Just like passes looked terrible. You would have the drive and then just a steal and effortless. Like Calgary was standing there and took the puck and took it the other way. And then it was kind of like ceremonious that the one to even it up was Sam Malinsky. Like, this is bitter. This is the turning point right here. And then they go watch the replay, and Drouin's controller's off, and he's just floating. And it's like you're like, what are you doing, bro? Like,
The battery ran out, right?
His battery ran out and said your wireless controller's been disconnected, and he's just floating. And like it's one of those that he's watching the play, and I could just in his mind, you could just hear it out loud. Oh, there's the blue. He's got to get back. Like you could see that process happening in slow motion, and they call it back. I mean, there's no. I mean, even altitude was like, yeah, that's coming back.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
it was rough, and then for them to come out like they did with everything stacked against them, there was no glimmer of hope in that first period. If for them to turn on the Jets as quick as they did in that second period, that it's a true testament to all those that say fire Bednar. That intermission talk, that's why Bednar still stays.
I want to know, because he said before, I don't have to say much to these guys.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure, that doesn't mean he doesn't say anything. But I think we in our heads, we want to, after a period like that, we want to think like the coach is in there getting in guys' faces and just reading them the riot act and no holds barred, throwing garbage cans, and he's not built that way. And I'm sure there were things that were said, but he plays it calm, cool, collected, and he leaves it up to the players to kind of like police themselves and like, guys, this is he gives them the info. He gives them like, this is what we were not doing in that period. This is what we need to do. And then you'll leave it up to the Nathan McKinnons of the world to kind of, he'll be the one to get on people. And be like, what are we doing here? Let's get back to how we normally play. And you saw it that I mean, right off the bat in the second, that first Makar goal, a minute and 20 seconds in, and you started to see like really good. You need really, even if you don't score, coming out of a period like that, just having good possessions, because you had none in the first. Just coming out, having sustained pressure in the offensive zone, good cycling, good shots on net, good positioning, guys tipping pucks, just doing the things that pay off later on, paid off immediately. And the Avs just kept building from there. Went, like I said, went from one of the worst periods to one of the best periods in the flip of a coin.
And I think the thing you could really pay attention to in the difference of the first and the second, in the first, a lot of those turnovers occurred on the fourth and fifth pass of an offensive. Like as soon as they get in the offensive zone, they make that extra pass. And that pass, that's where it gets broken up and taken the other way. In that second period, when Cale Makar kind of channeled his inner Nathan McKinnon and got an angry goal, just got the zone, took the shot, that was it. You saw the limited passing. Like it was 1-2 passes, maybe 1-2-3. Instead of the additional 4, 5, 6, continue to work it around. It was simplified hockey, which is something we preach all the time. And when the Avs just play simple hockey and not cute and not flashy and not getting everybody involved at all times, when they just get in there and do what they have to do, simple, clean hockey, they're a dangerous team. Yeah. But when they get confident and start trying to, do that extra pass to really improve their shot chances, they're really passing that goalie open. That's when it starts to fall apart because you just don't have that quality of team initially right out of the gate. But when you simplify it, this team is extremely dangerous.
Definitely. I thought the power play, it's still looking so much better. I mean, they were 1 for 3. So, you're getting power play goals on a good clip now. And it's just so much more enjoyable to watch a power play where guys are moving. You have moments where like Nichushkin and McKinnon, like almost like not collide, but like run into each other and be like, oh, I got to get out of your way because you're moving. You're going to different areas of the ice. You're not just staying in. And you'll see, I saw it a couple times with McKinnon, who is in on his left side. And when they're moving it around again, you'll see it just snapping his head like, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go somewhere else right now.
Yep.
And he goes to the complete other side of the ice. And all right, let me try something over here now. You never, ever, ever, ever got that with Mikko Rantanen because these are our spots. We don't move from them. It works. It worked for a long, long time. But you had that really rough run recently where it was horrible. And Marty Necas has infused life into that power play. And it's so much more like when they go on a power play now, I kind of sit up a little bit more like, all right, let's see what you got now, boys, because this should be fun.
Yeah, and you know what? And I want to bring up a point with a stat that we also preach all the time, and how the two with Necas, his acquisition to the team, when he joined the team, and how this stat hand in hand was a pivotal moment. And I think it's something they could build on.
All right. Well, let's talk about that. We got more to get to with this game. Other people that we haven't talked about yet, who had a really good game. We'll talk about them, and of course our sound check that we got to get to. So we all got all of that still to come. All right, but first we got game time. If you're looking for tickets to your next big event, whether it's a concert, comedy show, or a sports game, finding the right ticket at the right price can be a headache. But with Game Time Picks, it's never been easier. And why not the Super Bowl? Tickets are cheaper, I heard.
Do it. We told you to.
Yeah, to see who win, though. You're a Philly guy.
Yeah.
I am with you on this one, sir. So we're not going to go to the game, but if you want to, Game Time and Game Time Picks is the way to do it. Use it on the app, and the app does all the hard work for you. It curates the best deals, so you don't have to waste time searching through endless ticket listings. The best part, you're covered with Game Time's lowest price guarantee, and if you find a better deal somewhere else, they'll refund you 110% of the difference. Plus, your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time and with easy cancellation options if something happens to come up. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNHL, LOCKEDON NHL for $20 off. Download Download Game Time today. There it is. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right. So we were discussing the newly minted Avalanche, Marty Necas, who's stepped right in, man. And like I said on a few episodes ago, like it was huge for him to do that, because when you come in and you're replacing someone of the stature of Mikko Rantanen, you can't have a downtime. Yeah. You can't have I'm getting used to the new system, which is totally legit, but people don't want to see that. They don't want to hear that. And he has stepped in, and he has been, like I said, he's infused life. He's been a breath of fresh air on the power play. He fits this team's dynamic and style perfectly. And he's doing all this while he is doing this learning and getting acclimated to the team. So, we said it when he first got here. Once these guys get more comfortable, I think genuinely you could see a Mikko version 2.0 here between him and McKinnon.
I think what Necas brings is, I think we need to stop with the conversation of comparing the two. They're two completely different players, and you can visually see this. He's giving you a different wrinkle. And like what I mentioned in the first segment, something we haven't got to talk about in a while, the Avalanche were 50% on the
Exactly.
33 face-off wins, one of which Nathan McKinnon won. Tossed it right back to Necas. Immediately, bam, bam.
Yeah.
That was almost a goal. The importance of winning face-offs we have talked about ad nauseum. When Necas is in the mix, it's a different flavor, a different wrinkle, and something I'd like to see this team build on. That the one-timers off the face-off, those are goals that I haven't seen since like maybe Cale's rookie year. Like it has been a long, long time. And when I saw that, I sat forward and said, ooh, more of this, please. And what Necas brings with the speed, he's a disruptor. And not just for the opposing team, but for the Avalanche of old who have their own established system. He gets in there and does things his way, and the team is adapting. Nathan MacKinnon is bowing the head and moving out of the way for Necas and what he does. Like this team is building around his energy that he brings, which 96 was great for everything he did, but he will never, even in a perfect world, in a rookie year, does not bring you what Necas does when it comes to energy and just, you don't know what he's going to do.
I feel like he resembles he resembles Cale Makar more than Nathan MacKinnon.
I think it's a blend between the two.
It kind of is. It kind of is because like Nathan MacKinnon, nobody skates like him. Like he just has that, horsepower. I'm just gonna barrel down the ice, try to stop me. Where Makar and Necas have like this gliding, like effortless type, but they're powerful and fast at the same time. But you're right, it is kind of a blend between the two. And Nathan MacKinnon, we've seen it many times where he kind of over stick handles and he'll lose the puck. Necas, he is a crafty handyman with that puck and stick. Like he can get through. When you see Nathan MacKinnon and there's 4 defenders back there and he tries to go through them, you're like, he's not going to get through them.
Yeah.
But with Necas, you're like, he's got a chance to get through them. It doesn't happen. I mean, it's very difficult to do that. But he's kind of like a magic man with the puck. It's fun watching him out there and kind of just dice through it. He did it in this game where he skated around guys and kind of skated all like behind the net and came back around like Cale Makar does all the time.
Yeah.
So he's a incredible fit for this team.
And something else that he did in this game, I believe this was in the second period, where he did one of those little skate arounds in the offensive zone, and he dusted off the defender. He had a clear lane, and usually whenever they have to make an adjustment move to change their position, change their speed, they pass it out. And what's he do? Mm-hmm. He just fires the puck on net
all the time.
Nothing happened. It didn't go in for a goal, but it was again a disruptor. Like usually those will be passed off. Like I have to change. Your defender's going over here. You can count the defenders over here. Somebody's open. Usually Nate or Lehkonen, they'll just pass that away. He gets an open lane. He looks up, sees he's got a shot. Instead of passing it away, he just fires it on there. And that he does so many little things for this team that really provide. And like seeing Nathan MacKinnon not just like take him under his wing and say, hey, this is how we do things. Just say, oh, I like this talent. I could do this when you do this. And they build on top of that. Mm-hmm. I think that's where the Avalanche really shine, is when they play to their strengths and not, mire and the muck and mire of their weaknesses. I really like their strengths.
That's a really good point. And I really appreciate the fact that he came in here and he's playing on the top line with, the reigning Hart MVP, the guy who kind of drives the offense, and he's not gun shy.
Yeah.
If he's got a shot, he is going to take it. And I got to believe that's kind of, what they told him, like, hey, like we brought you in here to do what you do. Don't feel like you have to, always try to find MacKinnon or always try to find Makar or even Lehkonen or whoever. You got a shot, take it. Like you're top 15 scoring in the league for a reason. Continue to do that stuff. And it's nice that he just pretty much was just, okay, I will do it. You don't have to tell me twice. It's almost like when MacKinnon told Burakovsky, like, shoot, you can score. You don't have to just always find me or find somebody else. If you have a lane, shoot the puck. And it worked for Burakovsky here. So I gotta feel like it's the same conversation you had with Niches.
When you mentioned like that Nate and that Cale blend, he's got shades of Berkey and the way he like creates shots. Granted, they actually hit the net. But no, like
his hit the post. I'm sorry,
the post. Yeah,
he's
so
hitting so many
we'll
posts.
get there. But no, I have seen that many times. The way he creates shots, like Berkey did. I've seen that many times. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. Other guys that had really good games, like Martin Necas is the one who we're talking a lot about because that was the big name coming back to the Avalanche, but to me, Jack Drury is looking like a nice steal as part of this deal for the Avs in a depth role.
Yeah,
it's what they needed. They needed somebody like him. I'm excited for him, and I'm excited to see what joins him.
Yeah.
In hopefully when the Avs make some more moves, probably after the Four Nations tournament at this point now. But that's a guy who like we're just gloating about how Martin Necas fits into this team and this system. The same goes for Jack Drury, and one of my good friends lives in North Carolina. And when the trade happened, he's a huge Necas fan. He has his jerseys and everything, but he made it a point to say like, I'm really sad. He goes, I'm happy we're getting Mikko. I'm really sad we're losing Drury as well. And you can see why. He's just a solid player. And one of those guys that when he's out there, you can rely on him to just not do anything stupid.
And see, the thing that really starts, playing fantasy hockey here. When you see what Drury's bringing to the team, I really want to see what they're going to do when Nichushkin comes back. Do they pair them together? Is there something you could do with maybe pairing him with Ross Colton middle? Like, there's a lot that he's got potential, and he's even though he's not showing up on the score sheet like he did initially when he showed up, and everybody's like, "Oh, this is a steal." No, he's doing a lot more that you don't register on the score sheet that really drives the momentum for this team. And I can't wait to see them pair him with one more piece of firepower, whether it's Nuke or whether it's something they pick up during the trade deadline. I really like his potential because he's already making a really solid name for himself, and he's becoming a viable piece of the depth. I want to see what one more piece with him does to really send him to another level.
I'm trying to see who he played. I mean, I can't see him with someone like Nichushkin because Nichushkin's a first or second line guy. He's a top six guy, where Drury is more of your bottom six guy. So he played mainly. Well, he played mainly with Miles Wood and Ross Colton in the game against the Flames, and they did well. They did well. 12 Corsi for, 5 against. So it's 70% of the shots on the ice when they're on the ice are coming from them. So that's a pretty good line. That's not a bad line, but yeah.
I just feel like, and depending on whatever the 2C situation is going to end up looking like, what you do with when you ride these hot hands, like does a promotion for somebody like alleviate and make it a spot where I just feel like he's something that the more that time goes on, and it's kind of a blessing and a curse, the Four Nations tournament's coming up, because I would like to see what more of this momentum will do with Drury. You just hate that you got to wait for like 2 weeks for the tournament to be over.
Yeah. I also don't want to, he's the type of guy for me where I wouldn't want to like overextend him. And because he's playing well, like, oh, now go up higher to a second line where maybe he's not built for that. He's not built for that. But you want to see what you got too.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting dynamic. It is going to be interesting to see like who is the odd man out when Nichushkin comes back. I just get a vibe like they're not that they're souring on like Parsonen, but I just feel like he's not kind of making like as much of an impact as he had been when he first got here.
Yeah.
So maybe that honeymoon period is over now. Not that he's bad, but if he was removed from the lineup, would you miss him all that much? Not when you're getting someone back like Nichushkin back. So
especially when you got guys like Parker Kelly, LOC, Kivi Ranta.
Yeah,
like they're really like taking steps up, and Parsonen is just kind of here. So again, this is one of those what we were talking about. Everybody in the locker room, when 96 went out, you all want to make that step up. Parsonen kind of has not. So you want to see what happens, and I wouldn't be surprised if he is the odd man out when Newt comes back.
I mean, the Kiviranta, Parker Kelly, Logan O'Connor line is a good, fun line.
Yeah, I love that line.
I'm really liking it. So, all right. Last couple things we got to get to. Haven't talked about Mackenzie Blackwood yet.
Who's
so we got to do that. And then, of course, our sound checks. We'll do all that. This was after that first period, that putrid first period. I was thinking in my mind, like, this is going to, if we're going to win this game and they don't turn things around, it's got to be one of those games where Mackenzie Blackwood keeps you in this game and gives you a chance. And he, the Avs did what they did in the second, just turned up the heat and away they went. But Blackwood held firm the entire game. So I think he had another really solid, sound game. And I was thinking that as the game is going on, because Wedgwood I know he wasn't at this game. You saw Trent Miner on the bench, and they haven't really given you an update on Wedgwood. I would put him back out there for the Oilers game. I know it's you don't really do it a lot for back-to-backs, but I would, and then you got 2 weeks off, man.
Exactly.
Go out there. Do what you can. And the other part of it is it's the Oilers. Are you really going to put Trent Miner? No disrespect, Trent Miner, but are you going to put him up against Edmonton? You're basically just throwing in the towel if you're doing that against a team that's just as offensively stout as Edmonton Oilers are. So put Blackwood back out there. I would think that they probably are going to do that, if you ask me.
Like, don't even test it with Wedgwood. Let him rest. Let him heal up from whatever's going on. 2 extra weeks will be perfect for him. Hey, Blackwood, I know, by the way, 9:31 on the night. You came in here to replace Georgie. Well, you're also going to take up some Georgie time. So run him back out there. Do it again. Like, it's not like he's out there laboring for those shots. Like, when he's doing his thing, defense responds, and he could handle one more. You got 2 weeks off ahead of you. You'll enjoy the time.
Yeah, I think they do. I think they do. It's not what you like to do, but I think this situation probably calls for it. So, yeah. And I have to bring up Sam Malinsky. We talked about him, about the goal that got called back because of Jonathan Drouin offsides, but he didn't let that affect him. I think that even hey, to him, he's like, that's a goal. And I'm going to play and my play is going to continue to keep elevating in this game. Is that really seemed like that motivated him? And the pass he made to Martin Necas for that goal, he said after the game, he's like, I think he was being brutally honest. He goes, I didn't know he was there.
Yeah.
He just flung the puck off the board just to try to clear it, and it just found its way through everybody right to Necas for a goal. But he played very well in this game. He got the hat. He got the oversized hat for the game, so good for him. But for someone like him who's kind of been in the doghouse a little bit, nice to have a good, solid game in this one. Now you got to do it again tomorrow too.
Yeah, and I think this was his best game of the year. I don't think that's going out on a limb. He's made a lot of the little decisions that really paid off. I saw some confidence, which Malinsky in his current state and where he's been kind of floundering, he's got some confidence. And there was one, he was about to take it out of the defensive zone. He kind of shrugged it off and beat 2 defenders on his little shrug off and then passed it right out. Instead of trying to force something, he passed it. And I was like, okay, he's feeling his game. And then it was just a little bit later that goal got called back. But I like seeing where this is, and I'd like to see what it does in the Edmonton game. But I like his game, and he's starting to improve.
This is the false sense of security that the Avalanche give you, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have a game like this, and like, oh, we're right back out there tomorrow. Yes, let's go do this again. I don't know what to expect tomorrow.
I know.
Over on subtext, we have Dan says solid play. The Avs looked hungry, even a little aggressive at times. Yeah, you did get the another fight with Miles Wood, which I was fine with, because if someone's gonna hit one of your golden boys, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, throw Miles Wood out there, sure.
Yeah. Great goals from Makar, Lecky, and Necas. Let's hope this carries into the Oilers game. Absolutely. Cody, happy about the win. The top line really showed up points wise. Blackwood was good as per usual. Which I'm surprised they didn't save him for Edmonton, but maybe they wanted a more guaranteed win tonight. Which, given the Avs' tendencies lately, I'm looking circling the Edmonton game as the game where it can all go wrong. Typically in back-to-backs, you play your best goalie in the first game because that's when everybody's fresh. And I think it's twofold for this one, because the Flames are on your heels for a playoff spot. You wanted to win this one and create separation from them. If you lose to Edmonton, you're not chasing them in the standings in your division because they're not in your division. So this was, if you're ranking like which game is more important, the game against the Flyers is definitely a more important one, which is why they put him out there first. But you want to go win every game. So that's why I would anticipate. And if Wedgwood is here, I'd say he's probably going in Edmonton. But I don't think you can hang Trent Miner out there against an offensive team like Edmonton.
I feel like double duty has been the plan the whole way, because again, that tournament, you got 2 weeks off. Like you want to put your best players in to win the game. What's it going to hurt doing back to back? And you want to see what he could do. Want to see if you could, kind of capture the magic 2 games in a row.
Yeah. Heather says, love seeing the guys passing with intention. At least Miles Wood, his penalty was for a good cause today rather than recklessness. The team needs to remember how the second and third period worked and continue it for tomorrow.
They won't.
Easier said than done, Heather. I'm right there with you. And you would think like, hey, guys, let's just do that again. And for whatever reason for this season, that's been a difficult thing to continue doing. I don't know. Joe says, just going to send in my sound check right now. Big Iron from Marty Robbins in honor of the Nacious Night.
Joe, I almost picked that one. That's crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
Still waiting for the time when we do that.
Oh, that was close.
Same one. All right.
Literally had it selected and changed.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Then this is the closest that we've ever come between you and I or any of our subtexters that we picked the same song. I don't think we're going to pick the same one tonight. So
highly doubt it.
All right, let's get to ours. This is our sound check where Kyle and I pick a song each that summarize the most recent game. And we put these songs up on a playlist over on Spotify, which you can follow along with. Just search for LOA Soundcheck Volume number 4 is the playlist where these songs go on. What do you got for the Avalanche 4-2 win over the Calgary Flames?
And just to preface, I'm a guy from Alabama. I don't understand why country music is synonymous with Calgary, Alberta. It's cute. It's wonderful. But
I've never been to Calgary, so I don't know. I mean, maybe it's the country of Canada.
Well, guess what? We're going to go country song.
Okay.
From a band named Alabama. Okay. It's also
good band though.
It's a great band.
Yeah.
A lot of history with them actually, personally. From that first period to the second period, you went 0 to 60 in 5.2, and you were in a hurry to get things done. And that's the song I want to do. I'm in a hurry and don't know why. Because honestly, you put yourself in a predicament in that first period, and you're speeding through the second, and you're wanting to maintain this speed. Like you're hurrying, and then you're going to just fall into that 2 week off. Like you feel like every game is super important, and then that urgency is going to go away. This kind of will feed into that break. How do they come back from that is going to be the key. But you are like really like everything matters. You just completed this game. You got Edmonton, and then 2 weeks to think about it.
And if you remember the schedule, you're going into this break on a back-to-back, and you're coming out of it, and your first games back are a back-to-back. So, you're up against the wall right there. But So what's the name of that song? It's
I'm in a hurry and don't know why.
I'm in a hurry. Okay.
Great song.
I'll have to listen to that one.
That's good.
What's the big Alabama song? What's like their big one?
Dixieland Delight, Play Me Some Mountain Music.
Don't they have like a Christmas song or something like that?
Oh my God, Christmas in Dixie.
Yeah. Maybe that's what
Merry
it is. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. All right. I'm going with the COVID years and the COVID era. A lot of bad was around that time, but the good that came out of COVID was side project bands, and this is one of them. And one of my favorite bands is Radiohead, and they did a side project which is still going. They have a side project band called The Smile, and fantastic stuff.
Didn't know this.
And they have 2 albums out already. A lot of this stuff is like just one album, or we'll do a couple songs and that's it. These guys have hung around, and it's still going strong. And they have a song simply titled "The Opposite." That's exactly what this game was from period 1 to period 2, and even throw in period 3 was the opposite. So if you want
opposite of the Vancouver game too,
pretty much opposite of that as well. Yeah, even go back a game. Yeah, and like they were saying in subtext, like you just hope you can continue. Just please play off of that. But on a back-to-back, it's difficult to ask of that. So we'll see how it goes. I'm always excited to watch Avalanche hockey, but I am going into this one like, oh man, like if they can steal this one, that really makes them feel good for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
you can let that win, if you get it, linger around for 2 solid weeks and come out of that 2 weeks later feeling pretty good.
Yeah,
we shall see. We shall see.
I've been proven wrong before.
Yeah. Yep. So, all right. That is going to wrap it up for today. So thank you for tuning in, making this your first listen of the day. That is always appreciated. He is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We'll see you guys later. And you just made it through another 24 hours where Sidney Crosby's that much closer to becoming a Colorado Avalanche.
Does he like country music?
He likes fidget spinners.